Near Protocol. It is, in my opinion, an undervalued altcoin. It is currently ranked 30, right? But it's got a lot of things going for it, which we will go on to. So an operating system for the open web, essentially a layer 1 blockchain, sharding capability. It also has some Ethereum virtual machine elements to it with another project built within their ecosystem. It also plugs into other assets, which is really, really good. Let's slowly and nicely get into it. If, however, you are new and you want to see some of my other undervalued altcoins, I have a playlist. You can check them all out. I've covered 4. This is the 5th one. And yes, I am a holder of Near, but when you scratch beneath the surface, you may well find some interesting stuff here. Now, when we look at the homepage, you can see it's very, very clean, white, simple. If I draw your attention to Sweat, Sweat has over 1 million users. Sweat is a fitness brand which you can earn cryptocurrency on. There's a lot of people on it. Now, when we talk about bull markets and making monies, that might well get a lot of interest. Just saying. But let's look at other things, basic stuff, right? So it's a very, very simple looking thing, as you can see. This has a lot of things going for it. And I'm not the most technical person in the world, so I'm not going to go too deep, but I'm going to cover some stuff which will get you interested. The first thing I want to talk about is obviously this part. The global community. This is growing pretty significantly and has been for a while. Let's talk about the basics, right? So why choose Near? Now, this is more for the users and developers, but also for an investor to, look at. It is simple to use, right? Web-based wallets, for example. It uses Ledger as well if you want to do staking. I'll come on to staking later. Fast and environmentally friendly. It is very quick. Like transactions per second, yeah, it's up there with one of the best. It is a very efficient blockchain for speed and the fees are low. That's what you want, right? Great development element to it. JavaScript and Rust, pretty popular. If you know what Rust is what Polkadot runs on. And there is some projects in the Near protocol that use the Polkadot ecosystem, i.e. their substrate, and they plug it via that and they use Near. Octopus as an example, right? Onboarding, simple. And most importantly, 30% of the gas fees goes to the developers. I will show you the development fund in a bit. But again, also technical marvel, scales infinity, sharding. Ooh. So all those basic stuff covered. You can see here as well, Ethereum virtual machine with Aurora and interoperability with Ethereum using the Rainbow Bridge. First trustless bridge ever created. They just tick boxes for technology, right? In terms of the token, I know people ask about this. Why is it a utility? Well, it's security network through staking. You can do staking on this, and I will go through that in a second. There is also the ability for transaction processing, storing of data. You need Near in your wallet to use it, obviously, like most coins, and it's a medium of exchange. Pretty simple. The more people that use Near protocol, the more people that stake it, the more projects that are built on Near as well, it will ultimately affect the price of it, which is hugely important, right? But let's look at other stuff. Let's look at the web element to it, the building of the blockchain for the open web, right? So you can see here what they do have. They have some unique things. Named addresses is pretty interesting, right? Utilizing your own name, and you can, Mobster.near, for example, unique key stream. Now, we talked before about how quick it is. Average block time 1.2 seconds, an average free of absolutely pittance, nothing, nout. Really, really useful, right? And you can see here, obviously, smart contracts, built-in account abstraction. Oh, there's a lot of things here. Now, we talk about a lot of projects in the world. And you probably remember years ago, if you've been following me, I was really turned on by sharding with Zilliqa. Sharding basically allows things to just work, right? How did it work? Basically, imagine a tree and a root, and it just grows and grows and grows. Like, what happens with Ethereum? Bottlenecks, it pops and it goes, oh, this is crap. But ultimately, with projects like this, and Polkadot the same as well, it will basically just keep working because it can, and that's what technology is all about. This is why a lot of things I think will kind of fall by the wayside because they don't have scalable solutions. They have to use layer 2s and stuff like that. This already built in. Also, the environmental element to it, I know, going zero emissions and all that balls, but at the same time, we need to think about the future in terms of what computation power we're using, it's a bit of a problem in the future. We've got to think about basic stuff like that, right? So let's compare some data. Data availability, layer compatible with layer 2 frameworks, right? This is NIA versus everything else. You can see, now this is based off like a couple of months ago, very, very interesting data. You can see here how it massively reduces cost. Storing call data on NIA protocol is approximately, you can kind of see that. It's ridiculous, right? So all this information and use case is massive. Also, it is, utilized by all these different companies as well. So when we talk about scalable solutions and stuff, it's already built in. Crazy. Let's talk about the team stuff. How NIA Horizon is going to probably plug quite a lot of good developers from multiple projects into their own pool. So when we talk about this, connecting people, how does it kind of work? It's obviously founders, contributors, backers, create your own profile. You can get paid. You can do all kinds of stuff, hiring. Oh, crazy when you think about it in terms of like its own ecosystem where you can literally bring people together to build your project. And if you go on the front of the website, there's actually this Horizon Acceleration Program that they've literally just launched recently. This essentially is why I'm pretty damn bullish on NIA, because as you can see here, an 8-week equity-free accelerator program provides a multifaceted support for early-stage Web3 projects. When we talk about early-stage startups, we are starting potentially going into a bull market. If you're going to see a load and load of projects going onto NIA protocol, you're going to probably find the price move positive with that. And you can see all the basic, all the benefits here. There's a lot. Make monies, perks, learn. It's an obvious language as well. Kind of cool. When we talk about the GitHub, quite a lot of followers, quite a lot of activity. People have been doing stuff over the last hour, 2 hours ago. Even if I press a refresh button, you probably see 8 minutes ago, 26 minutes ago. So things are happening on the NIA protocol interface. When we talk about unique accounts, that's growing. That's going pretty big, which is good to see. When we talk about like what I like to invest in and ultimately, the blueprint of, what was it like back in the day? You think about it in terms of all-time high prices of the market, right? So the all-time high of the market was what, November 11th, roughly, give or take. I can't quite remember what the exact date was. It was around here for like Bitcoin. NIA protocol hardly had anything going for it, but it actually reached $20 when you think about it in that sense. It reached $20. We're currently sitting about just under $3 right now. And look at the change in terms of the dynamic here of how many utilized units and users are here. It's ridiculous, right? When we talk about social media following, it's got nearly 2 million followers. 2 million followers. That's ridiculous in terms of like the utilization and reach that they've got. So I think massively undervalued. And I think a lot of projects are like this, right? Just sitting there ready for the market to go. So when we talk about staking rewards, which I did mention before, it's got a decent rate, 8.78%. Quite a decent chunk of people are, literally staking their tokens right now, which is good to see, right? Good to see that. Now, one downside to all this, obviously lockups. Not a big lockup on this one, which is good to see. You can stake it on your ledger as well. And when you look at like the compounding effect, if you've got $5,000 or 1,600 NIA currently, when we talk about future prices, this is a really interesting compound over time, over the next year. Let's just say it goes to $10. I know, speculative, but remember, this went to $20 without anything happening on it, which is crazy. Look at your earnings. Look at how much, realistically you can be earning over the course of that time. Obviously ignore that's obviously broken, but look at this, in terms of over the course of the year, when you're not staking, not a lot, but ultimately when you're staking, it's going to add up quite aggressively, realistically, right? So it's pretty good to see. Obviously, that's obviously in terms of NIA, how much NIA you're going to be making, and you can see that very, very clearly. It's free money at the end of the day. You're going to make a couple of $1,000 if you've got a decent chunk just sitting there. And as I say, the lockup isn't that bad. When we talk about the pricing, the analysis of it, hitting a beautiful level here, where we have like basically broken out of levels of resistance, now levels of support technically. But as I said before, right, the top of the market for NIA was on the 17th of January, right? 2022. When we go back in time and we look at certain things, this was when, you know, Near Protocol had, what, 3.7 million unique users. 87.5 million now. Yeah, okay, looks pretty good to me. So when we look at that, pretty interesting. Obviously, yes, we've got some beautiful levels where we can look at. Obviously, I'm not a freaking wizard. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. But when you put it all together in terms of utility use case, how many people are staking, how many wallets have been active, and the developments, and you look on their social media, how active they are with partnerships, it looks like a pretty decent damn bet when you think, where can this go? And when we look at the obvious here, you know, a $2.9 billion market cap, when you look and compare to other projects in the bull market, they were going $30-40 billion. It wouldn't shock me in the slightest if we do start to see something crazy like a $20 billion Near Protocol, which would put it towards its all-time high in the future. So overall, not financial advice, of course, but I do think that this is sitting here, ranked number 30 right now, could well go up very, very nicely with the rest of the entire market, which is what we want, which is what you kind of want. There's a lot of options there. You can stake it, you can do a lot of things with it, and you can also use it, which is hugely important. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, leave me a like, subscribe, and yeah, let me know if you're a holder of NEAR and what you think about the future. I think there's a lot of upside here, personally.